My eyes are too high.
Finally, alright, shit.
Whoa, whoa. See that guy right there? Looks like he's hit rock bottom. Well, that guy's actually me. Believe it or not. Now, I bet you're wondering how I got in this wacky situation. It all started in the summer of '86.
This nigga about to have blacks and shit. You gotta turn your camera on. Oh, that way.
Hey everybody, did you enjoy that little Slump interview? Well, I really hope that you did, and I hope you give it a watch, because I'm about to explain the story of how I got that interview in the first place and all the fallout that happened afterwards. So I originally created that first little Slump video, The Wicked Life of Little Slump, because a lot of people in my comments kept saying you should do a video on him. I covered most of the other members of 1%, and he seemed to be an interesting character, so I decided to do a little bit of research. I found out his whole crazy story, how he kind of went off the rails, ended up in jail, watched a bunch of interviews, and thought, you know what, he seems like kind of a cool guy, but he's definitely pretty insane. But like usual, when I do a video on a person, I like to reach out to them, ask them some questions, send them my script, see if they can tweak it. Most of them ignore me, but some of them actually end up answering, and it usually makes the video better. So of course, I reached out to Little Slump, asked him if he wanted to help with the video. He said he was down, but then after that, he didn't really answer me, so I decided to just finish it myself and then send it to him when I was done. He then responded to me saying, was anything bad said about me in the video? I said, no, not really, and then he said, okay, put my Instagram in the bio below, and that's pretty well all I thought there would be to it. He seen the video, he seemed to like it, and yeah, that's it. But then he started asking me if I wanted to ask him some questions. So at first I was kind of confused. I'm like, oh, like just DM back and forth. I mean, I already did the video, but if you want to answer some stuff, that's cool. And then he basically said to me, okay, $30. I'm thinking like $30 to DM back and forth with you? I don't really want to do that. But he's like, no, like an interview. What do you think? So he's the one who initially wanted to do the interview, not me. So I'm like, okay, I think that could be cool. I mean, after all, the video did pretty well. I think a lot of people would like to hear from you. You've kind of, faded away as the years went on. And I think it'd be interesting to catch back up with you. So fuck it, let's do it. I don't usually pay for interviews, and I most likely won't after this unless it's like an actual rapper that I really want to speak to, but I'm just telling you right now, don't think, oh, Twisted World will pay me for an interview, because I'm not going to. But in this situation, I thought, you know what, I'm going to try to invest a little bit in the channel. I really want to get the interview out. I don't make any money off the interviews, but I don't really care. I'm like, you know what, I want to get the content, I want to be part of the story, I want to get that interview. So I'm like, fuck it, I sent him the $30. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm probably going to get scammed by this guy, but I guess at least it's a story to tell one way or another. It's like, okay, I got scammed by Little Slump. I guess that's kind of interesting, even though I was hoping I would get the interview, but I'm like, you know what, I'll take the chance. Faced my fears, sent him the money, didn't give a shit, and then I sent it through the business. He hits me back, he's like, hey, you got to send it through friends and family. I'm not fucking stupid, I know how it works. That's usually when people want to do the dash with your money. You can't charge it back if you do friends and family. But once again, I'm like, whatever, it's still a story, I'm gonna do it. I charge it back, I'm being nice, I do it for him. And then he doesn't answer me for like 2 days. So I'm like, yeah, he definitely did the dash with the money. I was like, maybe I can try to get some people to hit him up, like, some people around him. I didn't really know anyone that was close to him, and I'm like, well, I probably just got my money taken. He starts telling me about this manager, and I'm like, there's no way this dude has a manager, but I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna play along. And then he's like, you gotta send me another $50. I want it to be like $80 basically. And I'm like, I'm not sending you any more money until you at least download Discord, because this dude doesn't even have Discord. But you know what, we go back and forth just a little bit, and just as a sign of good faith, because maybe you don't trust me, I know I just made a video about you, I will send you another chunk of money, and then after that I will give you the rest of it once we do the actual interview. So this is very stupid. I'm thinking like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm gonna lose even more money, and most of you are gonna be like, you're stupid. But you know what, I want the content, dude. Money is money, but I like to entertain people. Once again, takes the money, doesn't answer. As soon as he gets the money, he's out of there, right? So I'm like, what the fuck, hitting him up, and then eventually he texts me back, I'm asleep. So I'm like, okay, he probably went and bought some drugs or some shit, I don't really know. Like a couple of days later, I'm at work, and all of a sudden I get a call from this guy. I pick up the phone, he's like, hey, I'm Slump's manager, and basically I want to figure out a deal. How much money did you send to Slump? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, there's an actual manager involved in this? I'm like, yo, I sent him around $80. He's like, okay, I'm going to send you your money back, and then we're going to get an official contract, and the way it's going to work is we're going to promo the interview when it's done. You can only say certain things in the interview because we don't want to incriminate Little Slump, and basically you'll pay the money, you sign the deal, and everything works out. I'm like, okay, make sure to send me the contract, because I wanted to make sure they weren't going to say like I could never talk about Little Slump again, but I was okay with not saying certain things. Didn't want to get him in trouble with the law, and just wanted an entertaining interview. I'm not trying to get anybody locked up. I'm not DJ Vlad. So bro sends me the paperwork back, sends me the money back, but there's no way I can sign the paperwork because he didn't send it to me in that kind of document signing type of thing. He just texted it to me so I could look at it, but there was no way I could actually sign it. He's like, it's all good, look over it, talk to your people, and then basically you can get back to me and we'll do it next Saturday. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll set it up for next Saturday. I have some surgery and shit I gotta do, but if that doesn't happen, I don't know exactly when that's happening, I'll do the interview. So this happens about Monday or Tuesday, I start advertising it. I'm like, you know, the Slump interview is going to happen. I'm getting people hyped up about it. A lot of people are asking me about it. Here comes Saturday, and I'm supposed to be interviewing Phoenix today, but all of a sudden Slump calls me right before I do the Phoenix interview. He's like, yo, I got to pay my rent. I need that money right now. Let's do the interview. Everybody told me about this guy. He has a very short attention span, so if he wants to do something, you really got to hop on it. I didn't have the paperwork signed or anything, but I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. I finished the Phoenix interview, and I'm like, Slump, let's do this. I call him up on FaceTime. Of course, I gave him my phone number, and it's him and this other guy on the phone, and this other guy's name is a boy Bugs. So initially, I think Slump is kind of strange. You know, I can deal with him, but the other kid seems to be cool and has like a level head, so I'm like, at least there's somebody on this team that seems intelligent. So Slump's like vetting me, asking a bunch of questions, what I'm going to ask, what way we're going to do it. He's saying that he's waiting for a pizza, we'll just say, and he basically is taking a shower, doing a bunch of shit, you know, taking a piss while I'm on the phone with him. I'm eating a bag of mozzarella cheese and just listening to him, and they're having a conversation, talking about music. I was on the phone with this guy for about 8 hours time. So finally his pizza shows up, he eats that, he makes himself some pork chops, he tells his sister that he's going to do the interview, and then we have to download Zoom. Now usually I do things on Discord, but they want to use Zoom because I guess he didn't have a Discord account. We tried to set it up, he couldn't figure it out. I was like, fuck it, let's just do Zoom. So eventually we figure out how to use Zoom, like probably an hour later. It takes like an hour to set it up. We get talking, there's a bunch of stuff I have to cut out because he keeps getting me to ask questions over and over and over and over and over and over again. But you know, I don't mind because at this point I kind of like Slump. We've been talking all day, I've had a little bit to drink, we're on kind of the same wavelength, you know, we're kind of understanding each other. He's like, bro, I really fuck with you, you got balls for coming and talking to me, like I've scammed so many people, but like you got the balls to still send money and do all that shit, I really fuck with you. Like he's even telling me he wants to do a weekly podcast called Slump Stories, and I'm like, sure, yeah, you know, fuck it, I mean, it could be entertaining, you seem like a cool guy, you got some stories, you've been around the game. I'm like, fuck it. We talk for an hour on Zoom, then that ends for some reason, so then we get on Discord. I finish it finally, we ask a bunch of questions, get a pretty decent interview out of it. He's very satisfied with it, I'm very satisfied with it. We called his manager's like, well, you kind of went behind my back and did it, but at the end of the day, just send me the interview before so I can clear it. And I'm like, okay, cool, for sure, and I'm still gonna send the money even though I didn't sign the paperwork. Slump's like, I'm so excited, I'm gonna get promo on here, I'm gonna get some music going, you know, I'm gonna get my girlfriend to do the thumbnail for you, this is gonna be big, it's gonna get 1 million views. I'm like, all right, bet. You know, I got other things to do right now, I've been on the phone with you all day, but I really appreciate your time talking to you, it's been really cool, and for sure I'm gonna send you that interview as soon as I get it done, and that will probably be tomorrow. And all of a sudden he calls me back. He's like, I just fired my manager, you need to call me right now. So I'm like, okay, great, I gotta get back on the phone with him. I call him and he's tweaking the fuck out. He's like, my mom told me that I got scammed, I should have asked for $300, I gave you a deal. Like, I don't know what happened. I think basically what happened is his mom got mad because she thought that I was basically going to be paying their rent by giving $300 to them, even though we only agreed on $80. She got Slump all worked up, like there was no reason to do so. He seemed chill the entire time and calm, but now he's like freaking out, losing his mind. He's saying how he's going to kill his manager, you know, he's got all this shit. I don't even want to talk too much about it because I genuinely still don't want to get him in trouble, but he's basically making a lot of threats. You know, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't really know what to do. Like, we agreed on this, like I'm not really sure what the problem is. You were completely fine, everything was good, like do you just not want me to drop it? I'm trying to be very accommodating. I'm like, okay, how can I help you out, Slump? Like, do you want me to interview some of your friends? Do you want me to promote some of your music? Like, how can we make this right? But he just didn't seem like he wanted a solution. He just kept getting more and more worked up. And the whole time I'm dealing with this team, it's very frustrating because they're like, oh, Slump made your channel, like you're only popular because you talked about him, like, you know, you need him, he doesn't need you. And I'm just like, bro, like he's the one who wanted to do the interview in the first place. Like, we don't need to be on any kind of ego thing. I think he can help me out, I can help him out, you know? He's kind of fallen off, you know, doesn't need to be embarrassed about it, but I can kind of help him out. You know, he's getting more and more agitated, I don't really know what to do. And then this other guy joins in, his name is something, but at the time I have no idea who he is. So I'm in a call with 3 guys right now, and this is where shit really gets fucked up. So there's 3 guys in this call and not know what the hell is going on, and Slump is basically like freaking the fuck out, and then like, this interviewer trying to take your money, what the fuck's going on? Slump leaves the call, I start talking to him in private. He's like, I'm a GBC affiliate. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, you know, dude, like maybe you'd want to do an interview. He's very nice and humble to me on the phone. As soon as Slump gets back in there, he starts threatening me. Both of them are threatening me the entire time. They're like, you just need to pay the $300. I'm like, we didn't agree to $300. I don't have $300 to give to you. They're like, we're gonna hack into your bank account, take your money, we know you got $300. I'm like, no, I didn't agree to that. And I know they're probably gonna call me a bitch or I didn't stand up for myself or whatever, but like, I'm a white boy interviewer, I'm not a gangster. Like, they're telling me they're gonna get Night Lavelle to come to my house and kill me, they're gonna bomb my mom, they're gonna fucking dox me, they're gonna get my address, all this shit. And you know, I've never dealt with this before in my life, so I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? You know, I'm like a little drunk, I'm like getting kind of freaked out. Like, I know I probably shouldn't have been drinking, but you know, I was kind of chilling with Slump, I was on the phone with him for a long time, so I'm like, you know what, I can kind of relax. I didn't know what was going on. Anyways, eventually we end up hanging up, and he's like, delete the interview, delete the interview. He's texting me, he's like, bro, I'm gonna blow you up, I need my 300 right now, and delete the interview, I need that shit gone, because apparently he thinks like I have dirt dirt on him. I'm gonna put the dirt out. So I'm like freaking out. I'm like calling people. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, this guy says he's gonna kill me. I have no idea what's gonna happen. And then the true go to this story, like, I really can't give more appreciation to him, is a boy Bugs, because basically he called me. He's like, bro, it's okay. You're gonna be okay. Like, he chilled me out. He basically calmed me down. And then I turned my phone off for the night. The next morning I wake up. I don't see any messages. So I'm like, oh, it's over. And then all of a sudden, both of them start messaging me again, being in Slump. So I'm like, you know what, fuck this. I blocked the numbers. I didn't sign the contract. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to decide if I want to put this interview out or not, because right now I'm not feeling great about it, but maybe I will later. So I'm taking a few days, you know, editing it. I have something pretty like traumatic happen in my life that I don't really want to speak too much about, so now I'm feeling really down and shitty. But, you know, whenever I feel shitty, I want to do some work, so I go back to the interview. I cut it up into 2 pieces. I cut out all the shit where he's eating the pizza, you know, all that type of stuff where he's asking questions over and over again, make it look really good. Everything that he recommended that I do in the interview, I still followed through with it, because even though he was threatening me, I didn't want to make him look bad. I still want to follow through. I felt like I still had some loyalty, because, you know, after all, he was nice enough to do the interview with me, and I'm like, you know what, making him look like an asshole, that's not taking the high road here. That's just making myself go down to his level. So I'm still going to make a good interview. And then I sit on it for a couple of days. I send it to a couple of people. I'm like, is this cool? Is it good? What do you think about it? And then basically I end up putting it on Premiere, but I don't put it up where people can see it's coming. I'm like, I'm just going to drop it the day it comes out. Then I'm going to advertise it, because I don't want it to like go up. There's been situations where I put a video on Premiere, and then the night of, while I'm at work or I'm busy, rappers start hitting me up and they're like, yo, take that down. They start freaking out trying to call me. Like, I have a full-time job. I can't call you at any time. Something I'm starting to notice is a lot of people think that they should have access to me at any time because I'm like the media or whatever. I make videos. They think they should be able to call me whenever they want. Like, I have a life too. You know, I put as much work as I can into this YouTube channel and everything to do with it, but I don't appreciate how so many people just day after day after day, they want to call me. They're getting aggressive with me, but that's besides the point. So yesterday, I don't know when this video is going up, but yesterday when I'm recording the audio for this, basically the interview goes up, everything's good. Slump is blocked, he can't really do anything, but then this other guy hits me up, that guy. And this is the guy that I'm really having an issue with, because this is the guy who revved him up in the first place. This is the guy who was saying he was going to send bloods after me. He's being aggressive. He was threatening me. And there's really no other way to say it. The two of them are basically trying to extort me for money. They were trying to put me in an uncomfortable situation where I get scared and then send them $300 when we didn't agree to that. But luckily I didn't end up doing that, and now I know what to do in these situations. But this guy hits me up like, why did you put the interview up? I'm like, bro, I gave you the $80. Everything's fine. You know, I edited it the way that Slump wanted. I got extorted. I really shouldn't even be putting it up or dealing with you guys again, but I want the content that I paid for, and I still did everything just the way that Slump wanted it. There should be no problem. And then I block him because I'm like, he's trying to call me over and over again. I'm like, I'm not getting on the phone with you so you can start screaming and talking about how you're going to shoot me. Like, I'm not dealing with that shit. Don't call me. Text me if we're talking about business, and in the future, I'm only going to be dealing with like 3 people on my team, so I never get cornered in a call again like that, because that was complete. But then the next thing I see is that he tagged me in something, basically saying, go report this video, because he put it up without Slump's permission. And then people start hitting me up and basically saying like, yo, Slump posted you on his story. He's saying that he wants to take the interview down. Like, what's going on with that? And then he posts something basically saying, yo, I got $500 for anyone who wants to take down Twisted World's entire channel. And this dude doesn't have $500. He was telling me that he needed $300 to pay his rent. Like, he doesn't have $500, but whatever. So I start talking to my buddy Jivo, who basically was asking me about the interview for a couple of days. He went to go talk to Slump. He's like, hey bro, when's the interview dropping? You know, he kind of did that on his own. And Jivo is 16, by the way. So Slump calls him. He starts calling him. He made a whole video about the situation. He called him when he was high. He said he was going to bomb this kid, all this shit. So Jivo starts asking me about it. He starts posting on his story. Everybody in my group is asking me about it. I start talking to Problem Child. He's like, what the fuck? I had beef with Slump in the past. Like, what's going on here? I'm just thinking like, this is a clusterfuck. And then I end up messaging somebody and I'm like, I guarantee you this guy's going to put my phone number out in a few minutes. And what does he do? Yep, puts my phone number on his story. I'm like, that's cool. So basically one of my buddies goes and messages him, basically tells him to take the story down, don't dox. He ignores it completely. So he goes to Jenny V. He's like, bro, take that story down, or convince Slump to take that story down. Jenny's like, he didn't sign a contract, he robbed us, blah blah blah. My friend starts explaining the situation, and then Jenny basically says, oh, I didn't know, dude. And you know what, I want to kind of feel bad. He was saying he's on the street, that he smokes fentanyl and all this type of shit. That's not me dissing him, that's just what he was saying. So I'm like, you know what, maybe I feel a little bit bad for this guy. But then he didn't take the story down. Like, he still didn't take his story down, saying to report my shit. So obviously he's just trying to put up a sob story when he's talking to my buddy, but when he's talking to me, he's like, oh, shit's gonna go left, bro. So yeah, Slump fired his manager. Eventually got enough people to go talk to him. He ended up blocking everybody. I think he deactivated his account. I don't know, I got the dude blocked, and nobody's heard from him for a little bit. And I'm just thinking like, I know this dude is not gonna stop. He's probably gonna keep going. I have a second interview that's still coming out. At this point, I'm just making jokes. I'm just posting stuff where I'm like, you know, jerking off to the video and shit, because at the end of the day, what am I supposed to do in this situation? Like, I was trying trying to be accommodating. I gave them the money he wanted. He started freaking out. He told me he was going to kill me. And like, at the end of the day, I still don't want to send any hate to Slump. Like, the guy is very clearly suffering with bipolar disorder. You know, he has mental problems. He's had a lot of issues in his life. And I just think the people around him are super fucking shitty. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, I have all this empathy, but I'm just saying don't send more hate his way. Like, I would be kind of concerned that like, you know, he's not mentally stable. But I basically just made the video because it's like, if he thinks I'm not going to talk about this or I'm just going to let this fade away, this is just basically saying any other rapper in the future who's going to try to extort me or fuck with me or try to do this or that or tell me to take down videos, like, I'm completely done with it. I've been so happy to start making videos, you know, make all this content, be part of the underground, but I'm starting to see how scummy some of these people are. They think they can talk to me in certain ways. They're nice to me when they want something, then they ignore me when I'm trying to talk to them. They don't want to be my friends, and then this shit happens. Should I have left Lil Slump alone? Probably. Is it my fault for engaging with somebody that everybody warned me was kind of a fuck up? Well, probably. But I wanted the content. I got the content. Still coming out, not going down. But I just wanted to let you guys know, probably don't fuck with Lil Slump in the future. But you know what? As bad as people are in the underground, there's a lot of good people. So shout out to Rob Frost, shout out to Problem Child, shout out to Leprosy, shout out to everybody who had my back, every Fang, you know, Lil Corey was there, everybody was supporting me. That really meant a lot to me. It just shows me that like people are not going to let me get bullied and pushed around. They care about what I'm doing, they support me, and it's nice to see people be on my side, because the night the Slump was threatening me, like I don't even want to explain it because it's going to make it seem like I'm putting him in such a bad light and putting him in that kind of situation if I say what I'm going to say, but like, I was dealing with a lot of problems in my real life. You shouldn't have sympathy for me because I decided to do this. You know, it's my fault for engaging with it. But when he was going to say that he was like going to kill my mom, kill my dad, you know, get people to kill me, I was like, but yeah, that's the updated story of Lil Slump, I guess. Go check the interview out. You know, took a lot to get that. Go check the second one out. And Rob Frost and Lil Slump actually dropped a song together. It's an old feature. Go check it out, you know. Boy's still hard no matter what. Much love. I hope Lil Slump gets the help that he sorely needs, to be honest with you. I'm probably never going to deal with you again, I'm sorry to say. He was even calling me the hardest white boy in Canada or something. Like, he was being nice in the DMs. I forgot to mention that. But I'm sorry, bro. I gave you my all and you threatened to kill me. I'm not going back on that. I don't care. I'm not working with you anymore in the future. So, you know what? All the best to Slump. Don't go harass him, but that's the story. Had to put it out there. Had to tell my side. Not going to be bullied. Make sure to subscribe because this shit's probably not going to stop. The underground is alive. I'm not going to stop. They ain't going to stop me. Never going to stop. Appreciate you all. Much love.